You can pull yours towards you. Be comfortable.
Right,
Sweet.
cool.
I'm going to roll a little intro, nothing serious, and then we will jump right in. So, sitting here today, another episode of the podcast. Got two guests sitting in front of me, the owner and one of the chefs, the head chef?
Yep.
The head chef over at the Fat Snook, one of my newfound favorite restaurants. I'll just throw out there. So, thank you for coming in, Ashley and Jantzen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, the reason why I like to start these with why I wanted to talk with you guys, right? Told you a little bit doing this podcast out here, learning some things, meeting some people. But over the last year, I've probably been to, I don't even want to count how many restaurants in Brevard County, been taking family, friends, those kind of things, trying different stuff. And I've been driving by your restaurant for probably a while now, surfing up and down the coast, and I love the name. The name has always stuck out to me like somewhere I got to try. So I took my parents there 2 weeks back, and it was an amazing experience. Great food. I have been describing it as art that you can eat, and honestly, the vibes of the place, very cool. So I wanted to reach out to you guys and come in and have a conversation. So thanks for coming in.
Well, thank you for having us.
Awesome. So how did that name get picked? Let's start there. Is there a story behind how that came about, or how did you guys come up with the Fat Snook?
So originally it was my husband's parents that started the restaurant.
Okay.
They moved to Cocoa Beach from Ohio, and
Nice.
he was in high school still. But he had helped pretty much from the beginning of everything. And I guess they were just looking up local fish species in Brevard County, and they came across that one and thought it was interesting. But ironically, you cannot eat and serve. Well, you can eat it, but you cannot serve
Commercially, right?
commercially.
Yeah.
You cannot serve
I
snook.
think legally you can only keep one.
Yeah. You
Okay.
can't.
And there's slot limits. I've caught one snook in my life. I'm a big fisherman, but I'm a freshwater fisherman, like bass, those kind of
Okay.
things. I've caught one snook in my life, so I pretend like I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there's a slot limit, right? There's a certain small size that you can't keep, and then there's an over slot that you can't. There's a sweet spot right in the middle, but not commercially. I think they're worried.
Yeah, you just can't.
Yeah, it was one of your servers, I asked that question. I'm like, can you not get snook here? And he educated me that you couldn't, I forget the guy's name now, that you couldn't do it commercially. I guess they're fearful of hurting the population of snook, or I'm not sure what the deal is on
We've
that.
been accused of false advertising. So
Jokingly, people tell you that, hopefully? or-
actually, like, yes, jokingly, and then some people are like genuinely mad because
Really?
they thought that they could
Yeah.
get a snook.
Come in there and get
Yeah.
some
We've
snook.
Definitely had a few
yeah.
calls, and they're like, "Do
Yeah.
you guys serve snook?" And we're like, "Sorry, no."
Okay.
No.
Yeah. Well, now I'm making you should probably rethink that name. No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
It's perfect,
well, I
perfect
mean,
name.
it's better than like catfish, right? That we
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
So.
Too many catfish houses. There's lots of catfish restaurants, not a lot of
Yeah.
snook restaurants out there. And it is a really popular local fish, hugely sought after in the angling community. So I think it's a good name. Have y'all ever eaten snook?
I have not.
Ooh.
I have not either.
No, not you
Yeah.
either, chef. It's
Yeah.
pretty good. Snook's pretty
I
good.
heard it's delicious, and
Yeah.
I'm it's on my bucket list for
Cool.
sure.
I'm not much of a fisher, so
Yeah.
Ah.
not sure where I'll get that from.
My there's places, not commercially, but my uncles are
You're like,
Black
wink,
market?
wink. No, we like to give it away. My uncles are the dudes at snook fishing. They have been for forever. I grew up here in Florida. They grew up here in Florida too, and my dad's pretty good at it too. So I get to eat it every now and then. So maybe I'll share some with you.
Yeah, just hit us up, for sure.
And I'll charge you too, not
Okay.
commercially. No, I'm
Okay,
joking. Yeah. So how old is that restaurant? How long has that been around?
Oof, I believe I think we just celebrated 18 years this
wow.
past month.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Nice.
been a long journey. For
Sounds
sure.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And things go well there. I mean, I love the location, prime right there, and almost into downtown Cocoa Beach. But
Yeah.
it was good vibes in there. So I'm sure things are going well. So.
Yeah, I mean, Ashley's there a lot more than I am. So
Yeah?
I'll let her answer that question. But
Nice.
It's our slower season right now, but
Okay.
even our slower season, I think we are still decently busy. You know, weekends we're still doing close to 100, so that's
Okay.
nice.
100
yeah.
people?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I like the small footprint that probably keeps some of your costs down, I would imagine. You can get a kind of a tight group in there. It felt like we were the only ones. We sat in the back left corner, and I didn't even realize there was a whole nother side that was filled up by the time we left, but we got there pretty early, and it was felt like we were in there, you know, in a little private dinner setting almost with my parents. But yeah, they loved it, and we ate all appetizers basically. We came for main courses that we saw on the website, but I wish I remember the guy's name. Young guy, facial hair.
Casey.
Maybe. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah, Casey.
That's my man.
But okay, all right. Yeah, he was awesome. He really did a great job, and I was impressed with his memory of everything. And then he went into
Casey.
went into telling us that
been there a while.
he's been there a while.
Yeah, he's the longest employee we've had.
Really? How long?
12 years now.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Dang,
Yeah.
okay, that is a while.
Yeah.
So you guys must be treating him right then if he sticks around like that. Maybe.
I think
That was
so.
debatable.
I think
That was
so.
a debatable
At home,
conversation.
Ashley definitely treated
Okay, got it. Nice. That makes perfect sense then. But his memory of the specials, what's going on, I'm like, do you practice this? And he said you guys make him go through some sort of testing so he knows. I think he called it testing. I really did think
That
he said it was
12
a test.
years ago.
So is there like some test he had to go through, or what was
I'm
he
wondering,
talking about?
was it Casey or Kevin? I'm
Well,
wondering.
we test all of the servers, like once they're trained after they've had a little bit of time, just so that way they're familiar with the menu as well, and they're also educated on, all of the ingredients we're using, just so that way, if we do get any questions, they're not blindsided.
Right.
So I definitely
Yeah.
like to go into detail,
Nice.
making sure that they know.
And we definitely train them too, like if they don't know what something is, then to like be okay with saying like, actually, let me go check with chef for you.
He did that a few times. Went back to me. I don't know if you were there, if you guys have other chefs, but he went back and checked on a couple things for us. But all of his recommendations we went with, and he thought it was pretty cool that we were just doing all the starters. So we wanted to try a mix of everything, but I want to come back for some of those main courses.
Yeah, you definitely have to get the fresh catch specials.
Yeah, that's what
They're
he was
so
saying.
good. Yeah.
The what was the not egg roll? It was deviled egg
Yeah.
dish. How you don't have to give out any trade secrets if you don't want to, but we could not figure out how you had the egg all together and spread out like that. Is that a secret that you don't want to reveal? But I've had deviled eggs before, but they're like an individual half sliced egg, to where this was like one long.
It's a specific type of chicken.
Really?
No.
I was like, I have 40 chickens. I'm like, I don't know about this
I
one.
like
You
very
had
long
me.
eggs.
You had me on that. I'm like,
Right,
no way.
right.
Yeah.
No,
No,
it's just
we just steam them into like
Okay.
a big pan. We separate all the yolks and the whites,
Nice.
and then cook them separately.
Delicious. Very, very good. I would eat that right now if it was sitting in front of me. So I should have had y'all bring me some of that for
Like-
breakfast. No way. That would have been perfect.
that would have been crazy.
That would have
Yeah.
been perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
But that one and literally everything we ate there was awesome. But it was the first time I've heard people talk about food in like an artistic way. And I've been to a bunch of different restaurants for a lot of different things, but I really felt that there more so that it was an expression of maybe you or whoever was back cooking that day. But is that a good way to describe it for you, or how did you get started in cooking like that?
I mean, I did culinary in high school, so I went to a trade school up north, and then I went to CIA in New York.
Nice.
And then I studied a lot in New York City as well before COVID happened, and then I ended up moving down here. And this was one of the few restaurants that I think, kind of met what I wanted,
Nice.
kind of out of the box a little bit.
Cool. Well, how long have you been there?
I've been with the company for almost 4 years, but I've been the head chef for
It's not me.
2.5.
What is that? Cell phone? Oh.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're okay. Yeah. Do you need to get it?
I thought that what I did is I thought I silenced it, but it was already on silent.
Oh, so you just switched it right
So
back
I
on.
turned it on, yeah.
I'm really offended right now.
No. I'm like, oh my God.
Don't worry about it. Yeah,
Okay.
nice. So you said 2.5 years as the head chef over
Yep.
there? Okay, cool. Do you guys have another restaurant? I thought I saw there was something else you guys had, like in West Melbourne.
Yeah,
or
so the
something over
previous owners had a restaurant called Crush 11, and they had they had the Fat Snook, then they had Crush 11.
That's the
and
one I
They
saw,
sold
yeah.
Crush 11, and my husband and I were in the process of starting our own restaurant from scratch, but then they approached us and asked us if we would want to buy the Snook.
Nice.
And my husband had done like pretty much every single job there,
Oh, okay.
and he's very knowledgeable of how that business is ran.
Yeah.
And he's helped create it essentially. So he was like, well, it would be a lot easier than starting from the ground up. So
That's cool and a good opportunity if you've come in and seen all the different angles to step in and take
Yeah.
over on it. Nice. And how long ago was that?
So we started, I believe in 2021 we like took over, but we purchased it in the middle of 2021 or end of 2021, and then 2023 is when we purchased it. So we've owned it. It'll be almost 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
if I have that correct. Yeah.
Did you guys make any changes when you came in that were noticeable or different?
I think like more changes to the wine menu. And I don't know. I think that's probably been the biggest change that we've made, but I think perhaps like our method of dealing with employees maybe is different as well.
Better, or tried to change morale a little bit?
No comment.
No comment. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I mean, no, it's just, we're just different. No, I mean, the previous owners were obviously very successful. They have created 2 great restaurants, very business savvy, great palates. And they're kind of bringing things into Brevard where they were getting some pushback a little bit, because this isn't, I will say it's like not the easiest town to always be up and coming or to push the boundary. You get pushed back a lot.
Really? From the community or certain people in the community?
I would just say like certain people in the community, which is like,
weird.
It's more like people that don't want change essentially, which is totally, which is fine, because then it gets weeded out. Like they don't come to the Snook, and the people that are wanting this type of cuisine do come, and it's totally okay. Like we're not for everyone, and we totally understand that, but they were pushing those boundaries, and they had to really hold fast, I think, in like what they were trying to do. And so I definitely respect that for sure. But I think those are like probably the most prominent changes that we've made. I think having Ashley be not pushing her, because she is, but like giving her more freedom. Like my husband's very like, the menu has to be in this certain realm of what the Snook was or what the Snook is, where I think Ashley is more of like a farm to take. I mean, I don't want to speak for her, but
Well, that's interesting, because I've heard some of that about Cocoa Beach and Brevard. I've been coming over here since I was a kid. I'm from Orlando, so it's not too far to get over to. But that's, people don't like change, so I get that too. But it's the one thing you can probably always count on, that things are going to change. So that sucks to hear, but it seems like you said, is the right way to look at it. Is the people that want to try that are going to come, and if the other people don't want, then forget about them. Screw them, I suppose.
Well, I think like everyone has like different opinions on like what dinner or what food should be, and I think that we really want it to be an experience where it's not just like you're getting this steak and potatoes and like, or fish and asparagus. Like it's more elevated, and we wanted to present that through our service, through the vibe of the restaurant, through our staff, through the food. So we want it to be an experience. And I think a lot of people are, not a lot, because we have so many people that come to the Snook that are wonderful, but people just like what they like. And I think I'm digressing a bit, but
oh, you're good.
So.
But the mission accomplished. If that was your goal, that's exactly how I felt, honestly. An experience. It seemed like everyone that was there wanted to be there from a staff standpoint. Fit a few different careers, jobs, whatever you call it. But one common theme in mine has been building teams, sales teams, operations teams, whatever you want to call it. And that is a hard part of any business, let alone one that's probably obviously some of mine have been more transactional, but the people facing ones, and the people that we've gotten out of like that type of industry where they're used to those kind of environments, sometimes have the best people skills that we can find around. So is there a certain way that you guys find people to work there, or how do you find your talent over there?
I think it's just honestly from already like having the people that we do have there, and like being super open and like welcoming to them, because I've been at a lot of restaurants where it's like very separate. It's back of house, front of house, like no type of relationships or anything. And I think at the Snook, like the back of house is super friendly with the front of house, and vice versa, so I think we just always try to make sure that we're all respectful, comfortable with one another, and also being professional, but still having some form of like friendship.
Nice. And just good vibes all the way around,
Yeah.
right? I have felt that same way with my team now. Is like you got to treat them like people, and you can be friendly, and you should be friendly, right? Obviously, there's sometimes people worry about like lines you're going to cross, especially if it's like owner, head chef relationships. But I never found that line to be real. I think if you just treat people open, honestly, like they're a real person and not just some number that you could get rid of and find somebody else to replace them, that keeps them around, that keeps them happy, and that keeps them staying, which is what you ultimately want. You don't want to keep changing people out all the time. I'm sure that could be a challenge in your guys' business for sure too.
Yeah, I think we definitely have had in the past like issues with employee retention, but as in the last couple of years, like that's definitely I don't think it's really been an issue. Like we're able to find people to work, and
Nice.
the team that we do have is like honestly amazing. Everyone, it's not like a job where they just come in and they want to, work, make their money and go out and drink at the bar. And like, it's not a means to an end. Like a lot of these people do genuinely care about the food industry, like,
Nice.
and the service industry. So that's kind of, it's like a lot more of a young professional vibe there,
Nice.
I think, of people. And, yeah, I think Ashley's right. I think communication is key, right? Like we're all people, and we all have problems, and we all struggle, and we all make mistakes. Like I make mistakes all the time.
Nice.
I know it's shocking, but I do. And we're just all struggling with life.
Yeah.
And we want people to come to work and be like, realize that they can be open, they can be honest, like they can be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're not going to throw them away unless it's, we're not going to throw them away because they've made a mistake or had a bad day or vice, etc. But obviously you have to draw a line somewhere where it's like, hey, this is a business and we care about you as a person, but we're not like the right fit for each other.
Yeah.
So,
and that's back to that communication piece. If you can sit down and legitimately say that with somebody, that's much easier.
Multiple, I think we give maybe we have too many conversations, I think, sometimes with people because we're very, come on, like we believe in the human spirit. Like, come on, we can do this.
I'm very similar, and that helps me sleep at night because one of the worst things is terminating somebody or having to separate with somebody. This is how they make their money. This is how they provide for their family. It's my least favorite part of any job I've ever had if I've had to, go in and get rid of somebody. But unfortunately, sometimes there becomes a point where you've tried everything. You've been real lenient. You've had different types of conversation. You try to be understanding for X amount of time, but then there's a line where it always just gets to where it's like, okay, this person's like taking advantage of me, being a nice person and trying to be understanding. So unfortunately, sometimes it's best for everybody, like you said. So tough being an owner in that environment to have to make those decisions.
Yeah, well, thankfully we don't have to do it too much.
Often,
but I also think like if I was a chef or a line cook or anyone and I worked under Ashley, I would want to keep that job for as long as possible.
Nice. Yeah. Why do you think that is, Ashley? Why do people want to stick around with you?
I don't know.
She's like,
no.
It's okay to talk about yourself. Think of it like an interview. This is the time to talk about yourself.
Just from like previous restaurants I've worked in, or like even in college, the professors or the chefs were like very brutal sometimes, and I was just like, holy shit, like, am I made for this, And I always knew like if I was going to be in a management position or, running my own restaurant, like I don't want to keep those same things going on, I'm like, I know I was uncomfortable in those positions. I don't want other people to be uncomfortable in those positions. So I just try to keep a level head as much as I can.
That's interesting because that's kind of how I think most people learn stuff, right? Is you can be exposed to all kinds of different things, good and bad. But if you see things that you don't want to be like, that's almost an easier way to learn. But then I wonder, like, okay, why do people have to constantly go through those things like you did to realize that? Why can't everybody just be cool and get along? But that's not in human nature, I suppose.
That would be ideal for sure.
Yeah, right? Like, can't we all just get along?
Just chill.
Yeah, there seems to be a heightened sense of people not chill, but I don't think it's everybody. I think it's, I don't know, there's certain...
I think there's like more chill people than not chill people, but I think like due to human nature again, where we tend to lean into the negative and think like, oh my gosh, everyone's crazy, everyone's awful, and it's like, no, that's not necessarily true.
But maybe we all are.
We all are a
maybe
little
that's
bit.
just kind of what we have to accept.
I think we all have chill and unchill in us.
Yes, depending on the topic, depending on the subject, and people get very honed into certain subjects and topics, whether it's political or religion or children. Like, you start talking with some people about children, and that changes the course of how you feel about individuals. But
right.
Yeah, I just think I don't know how you make it better other than just trying to be chill and calm yourself. That's all you can really control, I suppose.
Yeah, I think like I don't know. I think the main thing is knowing that you're human and you're going to make mistakes, but like as a leader, like in management, as a chef, or like as an owner, you have to say like, I made a mistake, I was wrong. Yeah. And let's all grow from this and move forward. Yeah,
that seems to be hard for people to admit that they made them. Do you still find it hard?
Oh, it's very hard because I'm like very stubborn. Like, I dig my heels in and I think like I'm right. Okay. But then I also will, like, I say that now, but I also will go home and lie in bed at night and be like, you're an idiot. Like, you're so wrong. Nice. Like, somebody could be like, I don't know, somebody could be so mean to me, or like at work or wherever, and I can just be like, why don't they like me? What did I do? You know?
I have this conversation with my 9-year-old daughter, which is, if you want everyone to like you, you're going to be let down a bunch in life. You know, I just think that is a game you're probably never going to win. You know, you want to be nice and friendly and cordial, but if you do that, now, if you're laying in bed at night and there's a reason why someone shouldn't like you, that's when I get the hardest on myself, I think, is when I made the mistake. I did something wrong. I did something that I shouldn't have done, or whatever the case may be. And it's always at night, right? When you're trying to go to sleep, the worst possible time for those things to come up. So that,
or you're like Googling about ancient Rome, or, you know.
Yeah. Is that in your Google history, ancient Rome?
I'm not going to let you see my Google history.
Oh, man. Now I want you to pull it up so we can see it.
No, it's probably... wild, like, am I dying? What's a kumquat? You know, stuff like that.
Okay, yes.
I'm just kidding. I know what a kumquat is.
Okay, and hopefully you're not dying, I would assume.
As of yet, I'm not sure.
Well, we're kind of all dying, you know, to a degree. Just when, I know, is the question.
Right.
I had my grandfather, he passed when he was like 96. He was the one, he had a condo here in Cocoa Beach. So he was a doctor over in Orlando. And he used to say that he wasn't going to die.
Wow.
And I'm like, up until he was way in his 90s, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't understand this logic. But I don't know if it was a mindset I wish I could have asked him. I had one of my grandfathers in here and we talked for 3 hours. My other grandfather, who's 94 now, we've talked a bunch on here. But I always wanted to ask him that, you know, why he thought he wasn't going to die. If he really thought that, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably just like... mindset thing.
Maybe.
Hoping for the best.
Hoping for the best.
Like, if it's anyone, it's going to be me. Yeah. You know, I'm going to live forever.
I'm going to be the one. Yeah. I don't think I would want to live forever.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that seems exhausting. Like, that seems, you know, you talked about the struggles of life in general. If that goes on for forever, that seems very exhausting.
Yeah, for 100%.
Yeah.
It's like every day, like laundry. What are we going to eat for dinner?
Yeah.
I can't live like that.
Too many decisions start to weigh on me. And every day you have to make multiple decisions. So I try to simplify that as much as possible. But yeah, I don't know. Right. And then it seems like people are living longer and longer. And now people think through, definitely since a lot of modern medicine, people live longer than they did, 100 years ago, or versus when they did in ancient Rome times. So I don't know. I don't want to live for forever.
Yeah.
No, that would suck. And then you got people loading themselves into, their computer, and their consciousness lives on for forever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's terrifying to me.
It is. Yeah. Here's a question I love to ask just people in general, since we're on the subject. What do you think happens when you die then?
Oof.
Well, I hope I turn into a cat, but...
Oh, okay. Yeah. Is that your spirit animal? Cat? Yes.
Jefferson?
Yes. My one-eyed cat.
Oh, you have a one-eyed cat named Jefferson. Yeah.
Cats really do have it easy, for sure. I think my belief is that you die and your spirit leaves your body and you go to heaven.
Heaven? Okay. Yeah.
Or hell.
Or hell.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I love to hear people say. Is I am sometimes envious of people that are so certain one way or the other. You know, I'm going to heaven, or this is it, or whatever the case may be. I love that answer of I don't know.
Right.
It sounds great that there's this place in the sky where everyone goes to, and you know we all get to see each other again. It doesn't sound so good if you go live in the eternities of hell. That seems like I
went to Catholic school, so I'm I'm petrified.
Yeah, I went to Lutheran school, so yeah.
Equally as petrified.
No, we didn't get along. I had too many questions that they didn't have the answers to. So yeah, it was. I mean, I had great teachers, professors, and great people there. But I spent a lot of time at the principal's office because too many questions that couldn't be answered.
Don't ask questions.
But I remember distinctively feeling like when I'm an adult, I'm going to know. I'm going to have all the answers.
Oh, I think we all thought that.
But dead wrong.
Yeah.
No one knows.
No one knows.
No one knows.
Answers now.
Yeah. Less for sure. 100%.
Yes. But I try to just not spend too much time thinking about it, but I think it's part of humans to think about dying or what happens after, or the big one is like, what is the purpose of all this? Is there even a purpose to all this? I don't know. I'm with you. I don't know yet.
I don't. I like to think like I err on the side of I do believe, like, do I know exactly what happens? No. I don't think anyone can say they do. But I definitely do believe that there is a spiritual element to life. And I think that we are living in the realm we can see, but I think that there's multiple dimensions that we can't. Ashley's like, oh my God.
Is this blowing your mind?
No. Okay. She's just like, here we go.
Yes.
I think there's just like multiple.
Yeah.
I think really what it is like knowing that evil exists. Like you can see evil around, then you know that the opposite of that exists. And so you know that there's God, and you know, I believe in Jesus Christ, and so I don't know what other people believe.
I had a huge problem with evil, right?
Because
let me make sure I understand. God created all of us, and he created everything. So that means he created evil. Then my question would always be, why? What would be the point of creating evil, people capable of being evil? That was one I never got an answer to.
I guess I've had the same question, and I guess my understanding is that like when God created, like God could have just been like, oh, I know everything. I know that you're going to turn into Satan, Lucifer, so I'm just not going to create you. But it would be like, that would also be God just defying our right to free will, essentially. Like, I think it would just be like, okay, I'm not going to create any of these people because they're going to turn evil, essentially. But I wouldn't say that Lucifer had anything to offer, but maybe there have been other people who have offered something before they've kind of turned the other way. I don't know.
Yeah. Let me start or add that I think religion has a real purpose for people, for humanity in general. You know, the question is which religion, you know, and some people have I
think all of them.
I agree. And some are much older than others, you know, and there's ones like Scientology that were invented recently, right? And that's actually considered a religion. But I think it's very beneficial. I think the community aspect to it. And then honestly, I'm envious of people that can check that box off. That I know that when you die, you go to heaven, hopefully, ideally, right? So I'm envious of that too, but I more live where I'm just like, a sign would be great. If I almost feel like I would rather not have free will. You know? Wouldn't that make it easier? I would give up free will if there was no evil, if there was no school shooters, if there was no disease. I will give up my ability to choose if all those things could go away.
Well, then it wouldn't be true love.
Ooh, love. I have an interesting theory on this, and I'm not saying it's right. And certain substances, there's a thing called podcast remorse. Have you ever heard this? No. When you say something on a podcast that you later have remorse about.
Oh, right? I just have that every day.
Okay, yes. But in this sense, it's recorded and put out there for people to listen to. So one of my I was talking to a comedian buddy of mine who has a PhD in psychology, and we started talking about mushrooms, right? And how mushrooms helped me. My mom listens to every one of these, so the remorse came where I had to explain why I like to partake in things like mushrooms, right? But for my life, I struggled with if love is a real thing. It seems like one of those things that could be invented. There's a line in a Marvel movie. It's Thor says it. Somebody says that sounds made up, and he goes, all words are made up. And really, every single word that we speak today was made up to describe something, right? So then I question if love is even a real thing or not. But I have children now, which my daughter was the one, and mushrooms, really, where I was like,
mushrooms
okay.
first, daughter?
No, daughter first, mushrooms
Okay.
second. Yeah,
Okay.
But that changed my perspective on that a little bit. There's definitely something more to your connections with certain individuals, but I think some of that might come down to my conclusion is that most things in the world, humans, plants, animals, are just trying to procreate and survive.
I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
But if there's a heaven, why are we working so hard to procreate and survive? That was another question that they couldn't answer. Like this fear of death, this not wanting to die seems to be a human characteristic. And then, what things, plants are a prime example. Like, have you ever seen like a weed grow out of the concrete, right? All that thing is trying to do is get to some light, be able to get some water, and then be able to reproduce itself so it lives on, right? That kind of seems like we're all here for that purpose, I suppose. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Am I talking crazy, Ashley?
No.
Does this seem
No,
crazy
no.
to you? Either anybody. Yeah.
That's
No.
speaking my lingo.
Okay. Yeah. But in Catholics, that's an interesting one. There's a lot that's happened in that religion that's like very interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to offend anybody. I'm trying to be careful because
You're not going to offend me.
this is a subject that offends a lot of people, that they get this in politics. But they're one of my two favorite things to talk with people about.
I also enjoy talking about.
Why?
Because I think, especially in today's world, it's so polarized, and I think inviting a healthy discussion to the table is. I think people need to have more of that.
Yeah. I
think it's okay to talk about things that we maybe don't see eye to eye on, or we don't agree with each other on.
No.
And I think I think healthy debate is fun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree with you. It's part of why I like to do this, because I think it is healthy and fun. And I've never had one of these where someone has left. Maybe we'll see how today keeps going. But where they left
You're pushing it.
I'm pushing it already with the Catholic comments.
No,
It's
not
the
at all.
Catholic comments.
Not at all. No, it's really not the Catholic comment.
Okay.
Just to be clear.
Just to be clear, yes, it was the Rome comment. Yeah,
I didn't like that.
That one offended you. Yeah,
That's fine.
Yeah, but the one with Catholics is just the little kids. The history of Catholicism and their desire for young children. Not all of them. I'm sure there's great ones, but it seems to be a common theme. And then the Vatican's age of consent for the longest time there wasn't one. So a lot of their problem, what are they, popes, priests? I'm not sure what they call them in Catholics, but they would send them over there. Something happened here, something happened somewhere else. They would go over there where it was a little bit more, acceptable. But that's been one of my main problems with that specific religion, is how that seems to be not talked about a lot.
No.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
I also when I went to Catholic school, and I can remember you have to confess your sins, obviously, which I feel like that's kind of silly, to have a middleman. But I was a little kid, and I told him that I cursed, and I think I told him that I was rude to my mom, and how dare you? He was I don't remember exactly. He was Eastern European, but he was you need to go say 5 Hail Marys and 5 Our Fathers. And then I found out a month later he stole money from the church and fled to Poland.
Oh, how many Hail Marys does that one take?
That's a lot of Hail Marys.
That would be a lot. He should still be saying
He's
that.
probably,
Yes. I read something once that confession was created so they could get blackmail on people.
I believe that.
The early Catholicism confessions were so they could, you had to do it, right? You have to come in, and they would use that against certain political leaders or whatever. Right. And that makes perfect sense to me why they would do that. Yeah.
I know a lot of really great Catholic people, and I think it's important, I was just talking about this yesterday, to have a code of ethics or a code of morals that you live your life by. if you choose to do so. I think that that's good for society, right? But I think like what we're talking about, like some of these things that have happened in the Catholic Church, there has been no accountability really for it. So I can agree with that like 100%.
Yeah. And again, there's some real benefits to Catholicism, I'm sure. You know, I don't know if I've met anyone that's okay, let me ask you this then. And if this is too much at any point, you let me know. What do you tell your children? Are they?
I tell them that, you know, God is real and Jesus is real. And, you know, but I also like say like, this is what I believe. Like, this is what I believe. This is what I've found in my heart to be true. It's not necessarily, it's your own journey. It's your own spiritual journey that you're going to go on. Because they ask me questions all the time that I'm like, wow, I don't know. Like my oldest daughter is 11, and she asked me when she was 3 years old, why do kids die? And I was like, you want ice cream? Like, what are we doing right now? So I'm just like,
but I have a theory that I don't, the comment of like, oh, ask me when you're older. I don't know if that's the right way either. I think to your point, this is what I think, this is what I believe. My parents were very similar, where they said, you know, maybe they told me what they thought, what they believed, but they also said, you know, figure it out on yourself, you know, because I think there is some things, and you probably see this with a lot of Catholics or, you know, whatever, is they're just a product of their environment. If their parents were that religion, if their grandparents were that religion, a lot of times that's where they end up, you know, starting. A lot of times that's not where they finish, but a lot of times that's where they end up starting. So I kind of like that idea of letting them figure it out on their own and just telling them what it is that you think, and then letting them form their own opinions. But I think kids more and more today ask questions like that. And I think it's because the internet, this is what other kids are talking about. They're exposed to a lot more things, you know, earlier than other generations were, for sure. But I really enjoy children. My son's 11, my daughter's 9. He's my oldest too, and it's just the fact that I get to be a big kid still is sort of my idea. But also, I just like that mindset that they have of always trying to learn, always trying to figure out new things, and man, they have a lot of fun. Which I think as the older you get, sometimes that goes away for people. They don't have as much fun anymore. So
that's fun.
That is fun, right? But you gotta, when people don't have hobbies, I'm like, man, like you gotta find something to do. I tell a lot of my employees this all the time, a lot of my team this all the time. It's like, it can't just be work and family. It definitely can't just be work. So many people waste their lives chasing money, chasing whatever. And that to me is a not winning strategy. I think you will regret that later in life if you're just focused on making as much money as you possibly can while you're here. I think the family and your friendships and those kind of things are more important. If when you die, because there are a lot of religions that think about, or that's, you know, one of the oldest religions actually thinks this, that when you die, you come back again, maybe a different animal, maybe a different person.
Maybe a cat.
Would you really want to be a cat?
No.
Okay.
No,
what animal would you want to come back at? If let's just
an animal?
Hypothetically, if you could come back as an animal, what animal would it be?
God, I guess it would be a cat.
Okay. Why?
Well, I see my cat doing nothing all day. You know, I feed him. He lays around. No responsibilities.
Cuddles.
Yeah.
So you get cuddles all the time. You don't have to chase your own food.
Yeah. Yes. He doesn't do laundry. He doesn't clean up his own litter. Like.
Yes.
That's a good one.
That's not bad. That's not bad. What about you? If there was an animal you could come back as? And you won't go to hell for this.
I'm like, oh God. Can I do like a mythical animal?
Of course.
That doesn't exist?
Am I going to know what it is?
Are you going to be a unicorn?
No.
Please tell me it's a unicorn.
I was going to be like, a dragon would be like pretty badass.
Dragon, okay. Yeah. That would be very badass.
Yeah.
Would you want to be a dragon in like House of Dragons? Or just like...
I don't know, because I don't really like them Targaryen folk too much.
I've never seen the show, so I'm not sure. Do they ride them or something?
Yeah.
Like, why is that a bad thing? Or they kill them?
Yeah.
They like send them into war and stuff.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm not going to answer to you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer to you. I'm a dragon.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Can they breathe fire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, would you like the fire breathing aspect of it, or the flying around, or
Like,
combination?
A combination.
Combination.
Both.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to be ridden like a horse all the
No.
time, or like that's like a slave, I guess. Like, fly me here. Or
Yeah.
fight
It's like
these
I'm
people.
literally a dragon.
Yeah, like I could eat you right now.
I'm going to.
Yeah. I read something interesting, and this is back to you don't never really know what's true and what's not true. The internet definitely changed that for everybody, but there's real people that think that dragons were maybe real someday. Yeah, like maybe they were a real
that's
thing.
crazy.
And again, I don't know. So you said mythical. You said
It's wild.
one that doesn't exist. So I was assuming that's where you were going with that one.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't around.
Yeah.
Were dragons real?
Cool.
I don't know.
Cool. I mean, how different is a dragon from like a
dinosaur?
pterodactyl? Exactly.
It's really not that much different. And why did all of these different civilizations from around the world have depictions of dragons?
Yeah.
Were they...
And they couldn't talk to each other.
Right.
There was no internet.
Was there a Zoom meeting? No, I don't think
No,
so.
it's hilarious.
I don't think so.
Definitely no. Well, maybe there was Zoom back then. You know, who knows?
Well, because all the ancient aliens had all this technology.
That show changed the conspiracy game for sure. Yeah, I remember. Was it one of the first social medias, like MySpace, probably, where you would put what religion was that MySpace? Maybe it was early Facebook.
I think it was MySpace.
I put ancient alien theory. There was a stage of my life where that
You're like, that's what I believe.
Yeah, they really didn't like that in school, but yeah, like that guy made sense. That crazy hair guy made a lot of sense in that show to me about ancient aliens. Yes,
that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
It really is. But dinosaurs, interesting one, especially in religion, because I said, how come there's nothing about dinosaurs in the Bible? You know, it talks about beasts. Yeah, it talks about like creatures.
They have like legs as thick as tree trunks, essentially. Yeah. Like there says stuff like that in the Bible.
Okay, but that could
and then
be
there's
elephant.
Like the Nephilim.
Nephilim. I don't know that one. What is that?
It's like the fallen angels. Like.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And like that's where they think like, I don't know, maybe like 5 people. Just kidding.
There's like 10,000 people that think the Earth is flat right now. I'm sure. Maybe it's more.
It's far more than 10,000 people.
Okay. If you're flat earther, I'm sorry.
No.
Okay.
One of my
that's where you draw the line on conspiracy.
I started to go down this rabbit hole, and I started to be like, well, I've never been to space. I've never seen the Earth. So like, how do I know? And my husband like took my phone for me. He was like, we're done.
Stop going on the internet.
He's like, don't tell people this, and you're done. And one of my best friends works in she works at Blue Origin, and so she's like, will definitely bust my balls if I ever make any comment about
the Earth being flat.
Even jokingly.
Does she know you thought about this before?
Yeah. And I think it almost I think it may have put a pause on her thought of continuing
being
friendship with me.
Is that why you guys haven't come in for dinner?
We did. You just weren't there. We did come in for dinner. You just weren't there. She worked past it. She worked past it.
She got over it.
She was like, actually, like, you're so cute. This is funny.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting one that seemed to blow up really fast. The one, and she I don't know how you feel about this, but the whole idea of did we actually go to the moon? That's another subject that if people work in that industry or have different thoughts of that, I don't
think we did. I don't know if we did. Why haven't we been back?
That's a good question.
Okay.
You know, and how could we go there in the 60s, but today there's people stuck in the space station that we can't get to.
No.
Right now, they were supposed to be there for 9 days, and now they're going to have to be there for 9 months or something. But in the 60s, we could send a team of people to land on the moon.
They were like in this, I don't know, like you would think, like if you watch the video, you'd think if you'd go to the moon, you would be so careful, and they were just driving around in a little buggy and just having the best time, and it's like I don't know, it just seems pretty strange to me, the whole thing.
I would agree, and I've gone down this rabbit hole a few times, but the one who's the first? Neil Armstrong, first guy that stepped on the moon, right? Is it Neil Armstrong?
Yeah, it's Neil Armstrong.
Have you ever heard any of his interviews, like after they got back? With the first one after they all got back is very strange. They're all sitting in a line. No one is happy. No one is excited. And then when they get questions from reporters, it's like 1 or 2 words and then they're out.
Because he's like, we're liars. I've been MK'd ultra'd. We're liars.
Oh, you're going way deep. But it just seems like if we really did just complete, one of the greatest, American achievements of whatever generation you want to look at, don't you think they would maybe be a little excited to get up there and tell the world about it?
Yeah, for sure.
Very strange. That one's a strange one. Those videos are weird. And then like 40 years later, he's given a speech. He only gave 2 interviews. One when he got back, and then another one like 40 years later, which is odd too. If you're the first guy to go on the moon, you would think
you blow up. Like you're on talk shows.
Everyone.
Yeah, right.
100%. This guy gave I've only seen seen 2. There's probably less than 5 available of even to hear what he has to say about it. And then he said something 40 years later he spoke rarely at a what is the college when they're graduating. They give people come out and give speeches
like a commencement.
And he's like, he makes some cryptic comment about like how things were undone and there's still more to get accomplished. And you can read into it however you want, but a lot of people like to make it seem like he's trying to say that he didn't actually do it. I don't know.
Well,
it's a weird one.
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin was also, and he's kind of losing it, I think, a little bit. He like punched a guy in the face who was like, I don't think you went to the moon. He just like punched him in the face.
I did not know that. Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I hope it would be very sad if we lied about that, if we faked that. If you think that's the worst thing we've lied about, then I still wonder what happened to Kennedy. That's another one that people like to get into.
He was assassinated by the government.
That is where I lean. We might get canceled for this one. No, I'm joking. We don't care about that. We haven't used the V word yet. But that would be worse if we actually someone in our own, whether it was the CIA, the FBI, whatever the theory is, that they were the ones that actually killed that guy. What would that do for people? If they actually came out and said. I think that would change a lot of how people think about America.
I mean, I think some documents have been released, towards. I don't want to go too far because I'm not super knowledgeable. I
talk shit all the time. We're talking shit right now. Yes.
But I do think that. Yeah, I definitely think that was the case.
I'm an armchair expert on this. Every time I'm in this seat, my conspiracy hat comes out. There's a lot that's been released, and then a big thing. And again, some people get really polarized when you mention this name too. But that Trump talked about was that he was going to get in there and release all of those, which he unfortunately did not. And I think that's the one that gets me is, okay, who are we protecting? Who's still alive? Or are they just protecting the fact that they know what actually happened? I struggle with that one regularly. And then the guy that they said did it, Oswald, right? The first time he's on camera, have you seen this footage? They drag him out of wherever they capture him, and there's all kinds of reporters around, and he goes, I didn't do this, I was a patsy. Right? That's the first thing this guy says when he gets a microphone in front of him. Then he obviously dies. But somebody shoots him in his next public appearance. But and this is a dark subject, but any other like mass shooter or anyone that's tried to come after a political figure, they're usually pretty proud about it. They usually brag about it, and they're like, hey, I was the one that did this.
Like, you're welcome.
Here's why I thought this, here's why, whatever. Not the first thing they're going to say is, hey, I didn't do this. They're making this up.
No, because that's crazy.
Yeah, weird one. I don't know how. See, this is how this always happens. We start talking about one thing, and the next thing you know, we're
really
down.
Proud of the snook, and just kidding.
Yes. No,
I'm gonna take my earrings off because they're digging into my head right now.
Nice.
They're making me say all these things I don't want to say.
It's the earrings. Yes. Do you find yourself conspiracy minded, or?
Not too much.
You don't think about it.
Yeah, I don't think about it too much.
I literally made a joke when we agreed to go on the podcast. I was like, what if I start talking about conspiracy?
Was she supposed to stop you? Like, hey, don't go this route.
My best friend, one of my best friends work at the Snook, and she was like, you guys need to have a safe word. Like, Ashley needs
you didn't tell me this?
I forgot.
You should have filled her in.
But Ashley, she's like, Ashley needs to say like passion fruit or something.
Maybe it was kumquat. Maybe that was the safe word.
I'm like, and then she said that, and I Googled, what's a kumquat? No, I was just kidding.
Nice. That's probably a good way to go about it is, because really, what can if you sit around and spend too much time, see, I kind of think it's fun also.
It's so much fun.
I will say that. It's a little scary. It's a little bit, I don't sit up at night and think about these things, mostly if I get really high or I'm with my friends or whatever.
Mushrooms.
That one I don't think about conspiracies now. I'm more internal with that one.
That's where you found love.
That's where I found Yeah. But I think it's probably easier to an extent because there are some people that start thinking about these things and that's their whole life. Like that's their whole identity. And then they're trying to like convert people into thinking that the earth is flat. Right. It's like, come on, man. Like maybe, but I don't think so.
I definitely like have ADHD. So it's like I get very like if I go into like, oh, I'm going to learn about a conspiracy, then it's like I delve into it and it like kind of does like take over, consumes me.
Yeah. So. Is that ultimately healthy for you?
No.
Do you think? No.
It is not healthy for me. I definitely dabble in extremes. Like I'm a very extreme person. And so I have to know that about myself and I have to tread carefully and come back down to reality at times.
Why do you think they intrigue you so much? Why do you think you dive into subjects like that? What is it about them that intrigues you?
I guess I just want answers, I think. And I think it's interesting to know that there are so many possibilities of what could be.
Sure. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to be a cat.
Yes.
And not have to think
Circling
about
back,
all these
cat.
things that humans constantly find themselves thinking about. But I think that's part of being a human,
Right.
is we, for some reason, it seems like we have a different, whether it's consciousness or different usage of our mind, or maybe we just don't understand really how animals communicate or what they even think. But we don't know a lot about, and here's my doctor hat, we don't even know a lot about our own minds yet.
No, we don't.
They really are not quite certain why we even sleep 6 to 8 hours a night, or why we have to even do that, or what goes on when we do that, which is weird enough in itself. And that brings up like multi-dimensional type things where maybe there's real scientists that spend their whole life studying these, analyzing this type of, it's called string theory, and then it leads into like multi-universe theory, where we're having this same conversation, or we've already had this same conversation somewhere else.
That's why you get deja vu.
Yeah.
That's like what they
glitch
say.
in the matrix. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Have you ever had like real deja vu that you can think of? Me too. I wonder, like, am I just imagining this? But there's a serious feeling sometimes where you're somewhere or something happens, like, man, I'm pretty sure this has happened before.
Yeah,
for sure.
So that goes back to another religion where it's like, okay, do you die and do this again? Another really old religion, that's what they think. You do it over and over again till you get it right, and then you get to go into some.
Yeah, I'm on like first
place.
Draft right now. So.
Oh, this is draft one?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many times do we have to repeat this?
Yeah, I can't do this again.
Oh my God.
This is bullshit.
This is bullshit. I do think we're, you're lucky to be alive. I think about this sometimes too. If I try to make myself really, if I get in a dark place about humanity, how lucky we are, just because it's kind of a race. Your chances of being born the way you are today in an odds standpoint are very rare. It's a very competitive environment before you're ever even able to think or speak for yourself.
It's like the fact that one sperm made it.
Yeah. To that egg at that exact time. That is how it works, kids.
The sperm, right behind the sperm that made me was like honestly super intelligent, had no mental health problems.
Jesus.
And you just blew him right out.
But the other one,
like, whoa.
But the other one was first for a reason.
Right.
Yes. I think, but it is, a very competitive way to come into the world for 10,000, 20,000 sperm trying to get to one specific egg, and that's how it works. Very strange. I don't know. But I do think probably too much about this.
Since we're talking about sperm,
yes.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
no, sorry. I just thought that'd be a good.
That was a good one. I thought you had something
a good segue.
there. Yes, that was a good one. Yes. Oh, cool. So
cool.
Yeah, cool. Sperm. You threw me off with that one. So yeah, we talked politics. We talked religion. Do your kids come into the restaurant?
Yes.
Yeah. What do they eat from there? What do they like from there?
Oh.
Well, my oldest daughter loves when Ashley makes her these
crab sticks.
Crab sticks?
Yeah, they're like, it's like.
I didn't see that on the menu.
No,
they're off the menu.
It's an Ashley special.
Special Harper made.
Nice.
Well, they are on our.
Nope, not anymore.
Not anymore. So they're not.
Just for Harper.
Just for Harper. We actually might not have any when she gets back. And then the other two, they just want dessert. That's all they want.
Avocado,
okay. Steak. Yeah, that's good. I did have two really good desserts there. The guy talked us into two different ones, which was not that hard to talk us into.
Yeah.
We were in a trying mood, but my son would love it. He's 11. He plays football, which it was something I tried to talk him out of because of all the research and stuff that comes out on football. But it's hard if they like it and they enjoy it. But he eats everything. So I want to bring him by there. My daughter's very picky. You got any picky eaters come across this?
Sisters.
Yeah.
Picky? Yeah.
We have people that are picky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wonder sometimes where that comes from. There's like this, I don't know. Is it a texture thing?
I was going to
Is it
say that. I think it's like sensory. Like I used to be really, I still am probably pretty picky, but I used to be more so like, I loved ketchup, but like the feeling of a tomato like made me gag. I'm obsessed with tomatoes now. So
okay. So your palate does change. I think would agree with that.
Oh yeah.
When I was young, I despised ketchup. The smell of it, if it was
still-
around,
The smell is
still
pretty
do.
gross.
It's pretty gross.
I
Yeah.
can't do ketchup. Still.
my 3
Still.
my 4-year-old dips her strawberries into ketchup.
Oh,
Does that make, yeah.
olive.
No, Birdie.
That's I've never heard
It's
that.
honestly
Yeah.
grotesque.
That's a good way to describe it.
It is
Yeah.
grotesque.
Yeah.
And my daughter, my middle daughter's 6, and her name's Olive. And she told me that her friend at school does what Birdie does and dips her strawberries in ketchup. And I was like, that's disgusting. She goes, everyone's different. You need to accept
what
it.
an answer. Everyone's different.
She's like, everyone's different. It's really not that big of a deal. And
Nice.
I was like, okay.
Okay. You like what you like.
You like what you like.
My
She's eating.
Yeah.
True. She's getting some
Yeah.
nutrients, yes. My brother used to dip like Cheetos in it and bake. He would get a plate. This is probably why I still don't like it. Is he would get a plate of Cheetos and like put ketchup all over them. Just like, it's just make me gag just thinking about it right now. Dipping strawberries though,
That's
be.
kind of grosser.
I don't think I would like that. No. I'll pass on that one. Don't put that on the menu. Yeah. Keep that one off.
Yeah, she's pushing for it, but
Oh, really? She's been lobbying
What
to put
made
that one
her
on the
kind
menu.
of like
I
get
think
into
like
going?
honestly, I think she did it because she wanted to see our reaction. Like I think she was like, oh, and I
And
was
then
like,
she was like, "Oh,
this is good.
and I was like,
that.
I was like, don't do that. And she was like, and then she just did it, and then she kept doing it, and I was like,
Watch it be good though.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's like-
my daughter would throw this back at me. She'd be like, "Well, you didn't try it. How do you know you don't like it?" I'm like, damn it. That's what I say to her all the time.
Yeah.
Watch it be excellent. Watch it be the next thing that does come
Yeah.
on the menu. You know,
yeah, it's
appetizer.
like on TikTok.
Is it?
No.
Oh.
Not yet.
I gotta watch it with you. Sometimes you're very believable, right? I can't jump to believe you right away.
No, my husband said, he said several times that I need to be careful because people will truly believe I'm stupid or like strange because I don't like I'll be joking about something and I won't like I'll just like keep a straight face and people will be like, okay.
That's a skill though. That's a pretty unique skill to have, to be able to just throw something out there like that and keep a straight, even keel face about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like comedy? I mean, you were talking a little bit about starting a comedy.
I love comedy.
Yeah. Certain comedians or certain aspects of it, or
I really just think I had like I had a pretty rough childhood, and I think the one thing that got me through it the most was laughing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. The best medicine. Yeah.
100%. And I would say I love Shane Gillis.
Oh, yeah.
I love Sal Volcano. He's probably my favorite. I love Impractical Jokers.
Yeah.
That's gotten me through a lot.
So hilarious.
So funny.
Do you watch Kill Tony?
I love Kill Tony.
Every Monday.
I love Kill Tony.
Yeah.
I forgot his name. He was playing Joe Biden on Adam.
He plays Dr. Phil too.
Yeah, he plays Dr. Phil. He's really funny.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Oh, Theo Vaughn's one of my
he's
favorites.
hilarious.
I listen to his podcast a lot.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I love just like how off the wall he is.
Yeah. I love how comedy's coming back to like being where they can say what they want again and not being fearful of losing money or being canceled or not being able to sell tickets or whatever. It seems like there's this switch happening where now they can maybe make fun of race and religion and certain things that 3-4 years ago they would have been getting canceled.
It's like
100%.
it's comedy. Like nothing's off the table. It's subjective, right? Like of course I've heard comedians say things that personally offend me. It doesn't mean it's not funny.
Yeah, true.
It's
but
not
it
funny.
offends you for real?
Not like offends me. Like I'm like, oh, I'm upset by it, but I'm like, ooh, that struck a chord, or that made me feel uncomfortable, right?
It's probably why they said it.
Right.
Because they knew that was the
There's
reaction
somebody out
would
there that
happen.
it makes them, but then I'm still like, okay, that's still funny.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna like be up in arms about it.
That makes me take things not. If I think of things in that mindset where it's like comedic, it sucks, but also it's kind of funny if you sit back. That's what I like about it. It makes you think about things a little bit differently. Yeah.
Who's your favorite comedian, Ashley?
Oh, I don't know.
Casey.
No, not a,
Oh gosh, no.
Is he a
just said-
comedian?
No.
Tries to be.
He's pretty funny.
Nice. Not a comedy fan.
No, I like comedy, but I don't think I'm
No
into it
favorite
as-
stand-ups.
What do you think's funny? Like what show? Like what show makes you laugh like the most? Or movie?
I don't really have I don't really watch TV right now.
Yeah, same. It's a time thing for me. There's so much to watch when you're talking about, was it House of Dragons, something Dragons?
Yeah.
What were we talking about that show? But there's like, how many seasons are there of that?
Just 2 right now.
Okay, 2.
So no excuses.
No excuses.
I'm just kidding.
Still.
Well, Game of Thrones is like
that's
a lot,
the one.
so,
I was just talking with somebody about that this week. They were like, you haven't seen Game of Thrones? I was like, not one episode. They're like, oh, you should. I'm like, how many seasons is it? It's
we watched House of Dragon.
I know, and then I tried watching Game of Thrones, and I fell asleep.
I just can't sit down and watch something to think about an investment, because you're not going to get the end of it, of 7 seasons, 20 episodes. Like, nah, I'm out. They lose me really quick.
Yeah.
Really quick.
Anytime I try to watch TV or something, I fall asleep. It doesn't matter if it's
Can't sit
good
still.
or not. No, I'm out. Like,
Someone's probably working you too hard. That's probably what it is. Yeah.
You are a busy lady.
Yes, nice.
You know what? I was like, I started to fall asleep like as well when I start to watch shows. Except for last night, I started watching this show. It was like by the same guy that made Tiger King, the same director, and it was like about this lady who's like obsessed with chimpanzees. And it was like blowing my mind.
Oh my gosh.
It was so uncomfortable, which I love. Like, I love like Nathan Fielder as well. Like, I love things that are just like very uncomfortable. And you're like watching, you're like, this is crazy. This is a real person like doing this. Like, she's like, I love chimps more than my own children.
Oh my God.
jeez.
And she was like, she had lip injections and a spray tan, and she was like cleaning the chimps' cages, but she was in like booty shorts. And honestly, I suggest it to everyone.
What's it called?
It's on HBO. I think it's called like Chimp Love. I don't
Chimp
know.
Love.
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know. It was literally wild. I was like
That sounds
flabbergasted by watching it.
How
Like,
long
my
did you
husband
watch this for?
there's only 2 episodes so far.
She's watched them 8 times a piece.
Yeah. I was up all night. I'm like, again, like rewind, like, what?
Yes.
No, I didn't do that. I just watched
Chimp Love.
I don't know if that's the accurate name. I mean, it's chimp something.
Chimp
Chimpanzee.
something.
I don't know. It was so crazy. And then it was really funny, but then they get into the second episode where like this one chimpanzee, I don't know if you remember this, but it happened like 2009.
The lady's face.
Yeah.
Ripped the lady's
her
face off.
Yeah.
So I'm like laughing, and then they go back to that, and I'm like,
The one that lived in her house with her?
I'm like,
that
can
one?
we get back to being funny and silly and lighthearted?
Yes.
And it wasn't. It was like, they played the 911 call, and
Oh God.
That's a crazy one. The one that she had it living in the house.
literally, yeah. The lady, she was like, she's eating my friend. He's eating my friend. And she like tried to stab her chimpanzee. Oh, man. And they're so strong.
Yeah, good
You
luck with
can't.
that.
And you
Yeah,
have
good
no
luck
face
with that.
anymore.
You don't have a
couldn't see
face.
it.
Well, no, like the lady, like
Oh, her friend.
her
That's what it
friend
was
who like
called.
helped raise the chimpanzee. But when they get older and like you start to like, they can't,
They're feral.
they're feral. They're wild animals, but they also can't. The things that they used to like to do, you can't do that with them anymore because
too big,
they're
too
big
strong.
and they're strong and they can't be out in public. And so then they start to like go crazy because they're like rocking back and forth. They're like stuck,
They're locked in a house.
locked in a cage in a
That
house.
was a weird one though,
So
because
sad.
that chimp had Xanax in its system.
Oh,
so she
I
used to
didn't
give
know
it
makes
allegedly.
sense.
She used to give it Xanax and wine. Yeah. Why are you giving
were
a chimp Xanax and wine?
They were giving the chimpanzees, like the lady when she was like filming them in their compound, she was giving them Powerades and Happy Meals. She's like, they love their sports drinks. And I was like,
oh my.
what?
Chimpanzee.
Powerade. I'm like, why are you giving it Powerade?
There's some comedian, I don't remember who it was, that said the reason why that chimp ripped the friend's face off is because like she was cock blocking him or something. Yeah. I mean, to say that some lady would not,
Would she like not give it up or something?
or the friend was trying to stop that from happening. Like, you gotta not let this chimp sleep in your bed. Why are you giving it Xanax and wine?
And that chimp was like, girl, bye.
Yeah, like, I will eat your face. Stop cock blocking me. Yes, you haven't heard that one.
A chimp has needs.
Chimp has needs.
Yeah.
Get out of my way. Wow.
I was like, I couldn't even, and I immediately was like, I need to tell everyone I know about this show.
Nice. I'm gonna have to check that out. I have a fascination with chimps, monkeys in
Right.
general. I think a lot of people do. If you believe in evolution or the idea of evolution, that's where we all came from. Did you watch Chimp Empire? That show on Netflix? It was like a series.
No,
Yeah.
because I know that chimpanzees they can be very brutal.
Oh yeah.
And so
can humans.
Right. And I have to deal with that all the time. I don't want to deal with it in a fuzzy, cute chimpanzee.
Okay.
I want my idea of them to be like
in the jungle.
They're so silly.
They're so silly.
They like bananas.
Yes. No. The strangest one I heard was where they taught some, I don't remember if it was chimps or some monkeys, like some other species, the value of money. Somehow they taught them that, like, hey, this money gets you food, or this, whatever it was that they used to collect, they would then use that to get more food. So the first thing they did was start saving all the money, give it to the women so they could sleep with them, the women monkeys. Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. There's some weird stuff on monkeys.
There's some weird
stuff on monkeys, you know. But that was one I was like, really? Like, but it makes you kind of think, you know. And then that Chimp Empire one where it was like seeing them work in packs and like as a group.
They'll like eat other monkeys.
Oh yeah.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone's fed for themselves.
All right, and that's what people.
Survival of the fittest.
That's like where people are like, I don't know. Vegans. Sorry, I'm just gonna say.
I'm a vegan.
Okay, well,
Really? Oh.
Gotcha.
You-
I got her.
you
with
didn't
one of
get me.
those.
I was about to
You're
be
you're
like-
like bullshit.
yeah.
Bullshit.
I was like, you got a mullet, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, damn. Yes. Nice.
you're not a vegan.
No. But what about vegans? This will probably offend some people.
Well, they think that like nature is so, like natural, like live in harmony. Animals are fucking brutal.
Yeah.
They are brutal.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
So like, I get it. Like I agree. Like humans take it to the next level on
Sure.
the brutality aspect of it, right? Because we have thumbs, right? I don't know. Whatever you want to.
And nuclear bombs.
We have thumbs to make nuclear bombs.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like dolphins,
Yeah.
they're brutal.
Savage. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like animals are brutal and like life is brutal. I don't necessarily agree. I can see the veganism argument 100%.
Which argument?
That it's sad and it's
Of course.
it's awful
Yeah.
and
But they're also the same ones that are eating all of like this processed vegan food, and it's like, is that stuff even better for you? Like, it's
No,
all
100%
processed.
it's
There's
not.
so much more like additives in there
Yeah.
than it is like
It's way
if
worse.
You eat a piece of meat, you know,
For sure.
like
Yeah.
like like in my house we eat grass, like we're grass fed
Yeah.
meat 100%. So like I definitely think eating ethically sourced meat, but like I don't think people realize the benefits of farmers. I don't think people realize what farmers do.
Oh, they're taken for
our
granted,
country.
For sure. Yeah.
100%, like for regenerative farming, for our soil health, for everything. Like people are talking about like what you said, like eating processed meat, but they're shipping like soybeans over in these huge cargo ships, and it's like the amount of energy and the amount of emissions being pushed out into the atmosphere versus a cow
Yeah.
is wild to me.
Yeah. I get the argument of you don't want animals to be treated.
You don't want them to
poorly.
be right. You don't want them to suffer.
You don't want them to suffer.
Right.
You don't want humans to
100%.
suffer. You don't want people to suffer. People do. Animals do. But obviously that brings in like factory farming.
100%.
It's something
Awful.
like over 90% of like. Okay, you have a cat. Do you have pets?
Many.
Do you keep them in cages?
I keep my rabbit in a cage.
Oh, your rabbit's in a cage. But most people, I think if you ask most people, the ideal situation would be maybe a rabbit because it's not as domesticated as some other animals. But you wouldn't want to keep your cat in a cage all day, right?
No.
But 90% of the stuff we eat, it comes from a cage.
Right.
Chickens, pigs, and turkeys. Like it's an astonishing amount of number of them that live in a small box. They get to a certain age, they kill them, they send them out, obviously for us all to eat, but they got to feed all this. So I think the vegan argument, the only one that makes sense is the way they treat
I agree.
those kind of animals
100%.
for sure. But the idea of we shouldn't eat them or it's
Right.
bad for us to eat them.
That's not true. Yeah.
It seems like every animal, and we're just another animal, we just think we're the smartest ones, right? They eat other animals.
Right.
They eat plants too. Some of them eat only plants, but I don't think that strategy is a winning one, in my opinion, the veganism argument. There would be way too many animals. If we didn't kill them, Think about like
They'd
even
kill
like
us.
deer. They would even something like deer. You're right.
Cows.
Yeah.
In Australia, they have wild cows. It's one of the only places where there's still like a feral cow, and they kill a lot of people every year. I mean, it's a freaking huge animal with big
believe
horns.
it.
You know?
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, but do you get people that like are upset at you at like the stuff you serve or the?
No, like we get a lot of vegans.
Really?
We used to before this podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
You just cut a huge segment of your market share away.
Can we cut that? I'm just kidding.
Nice.
No,
we love vegans.
No.
But I think when we get vegans in the restaurant, like I don't go out and I don't buy like the processed stuff. Like I use everything that's in house. So, like they're getting like vegetables and like anything we have in house. So it's not. I feel better serving something like that compared to like going to the store and buying like the tofu that's been processed or like any of like the other like vegan mayo. Like you know, like I'm making that stuff like using chickpeas and like real stuff. You know,
you're accommodating in just the way that you are.
Yeah,
you know, and how you operate.
Totally like. I don't know. I feel like I'm totally on board if that's like how you want to eat.
Of course.
And like we will she makes some like really bomb vegan food.
Nice.
So
nice.
I think that there's
I'd probably have to try it to know if it's bomb or not, but I'm going to believe you. I'm going to trust your judgment here. But I think that's a good way to put it is I'm not going to try to change someone's opinions, but there are vegans.
But the vegans will try to change yours.
Yes, but that's back to religion. Like why do you think you have to try to change me on my thoughts or beliefs?
Well, I would say that they probably want to save as many animals as possible.
So if they
that would be their argument. Yeah.
But large scale, even just like agricultural, kills a ton of animals.
Yeah, 100% correct.
Yeah, the small animals that live in there and eat that stuff.
Like, okay, if you like, you cannot argue with me and saying like plowing a field and destroying it and spraying it with pesticides and herbicides is better for the environment to feed whatever the soy or the tempeh or whatever you're making versus going out into the forest and shooting a deer with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Respecting the forest.
Yes.
Like.
Yes. Have you ever hunted?
I haven't.
Have you ever hunted?
No.
Yeah.
I think it would be really hard for me.
It is. Yeah.
Do you hear me? Like I'm like vegans suck, and then I'm like I couldn't kill something. I could if I had to.
Of course.
Yeah.
People like to be disassociated with the idea of killing, whatever they're going to eat. But you go to a supermarket, you go to a restaurant. Something died for you to be able to eat that. But it is. So I've killed one of each animal of the big three because I wanted to know how to do it.
Glad you clarified that. I thought you were going to stop at one of each animal.
Yes.
Wow. That's
like Noah's Ark, you got to kill one of each. No,
like my favorite was the blue whale.
No. The ones you could get in Florida, and the real reason was just because I'm not like some doomsday prepper or whatever. Excuse me. Yep. But the idea is if you had to get your own food for whatever, and the pandemic kind of taught you that. It's like stuff in supermarkets got real hard to get. That's why I have chickens and a pig now and a lot of my own, plants and animals. I don't have something buried that I can hide from a bomb in. But so I've killed one deer, one hog, and one turkey just because I wanted to see how do you process it, how do you get the meat.
That's smart.
But each time, like, very remorseful.
Yeah.
Like, you feel terrible.
But I think that's good, right? Like,
if I didn't feel that way,
that would be scary.
Psychopath.
Yeah, that'd be scary to me.
Yeah. But I think probably over time, people that hunt for forever, maybe that goes away. But I don't know.
Have you ever watched the show like Alone, where they like live and they like are sent out to Alaska and they like have to survive by themselves
as long as they can.
They can. Well, it's like these people that are like literally like avid survivalists that have been doing it their whole life will be like, they live out there. It kind of breaks them, right? But it like also builds them. But it's like they're out there and they're like, thank you. They'll kill something and they'll thank you like for this gift and like I'm sorry it had to be this way. Like the majority of them are like very still remorseful. But I think the people that like go out and pay somebody like money to like go kill a lion in Africa, like there's something wrong there for sure.
That's a sore subject for people. I agree. And I've been in some people's trophy rooms that have spent tons of money. But the interesting thing is how much money that brings to that area. The fact that in those areas, if you do allow for like lion hunts and stuff like that, that community can flourish. They can get water that works and food for children that are in that area. So there's two sides to every story, but I agree. It's not in my wheelhouse to fly to Africa and kill a big cat. Like, no, like, just for the sport of it. Like, you're not even going to eat it.
Like, I can get behind like helping communities for sure, but like
you could do it another way,
right? But to have somebody be like, this is my dream to like kill this rhino, it's like, why though?
It's like, how does it benefit you?
I don't understand.
But rhinos kill people. big cats kill people.
Yeah, but like people kill people, so should I
True.
just go shoot people?
Yes.
Okay.
We should eat them too.
We should eat-
Soil and Green style.
Would you eat a person if it came down to it?
What if it tastes good?
Well, I guess we won't know.
Yeah. It's like monkeys eating monkeys. You know?
I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
If it was like
people have eaten
apocalyptic,
people.
would you?
It would be my last resort.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you eat a dog or a person first?
Dog probably tastes good. Yeah, there's probably some dogs that taste good. Yeah.
Do you think like any specific breed tastes better than the other?
I don't think a Chihuahua would taste very good.
No.
It wouldn't be much to work
No.
with, too.
No.
But,
Have to be a
but
big
even when I look at like a horse, which I do not like horses, too big of an animal, like that you can't tell me that leg, that whatever you want to call that, was not wouldn't
That
taste
juicy
good.
little
leg.
horse
Come
leg
on.
spinning in Disney.
Please. Yes, exactly. Like the ones you get from Disney. Yeah. I don't know. There's some people I'd probably eat before I ate my dog, for
Right.
sure, if it came down to it. I don't know. When's that going to be on the menu? Dog or horse? I'm coming for that.
I think it's gonna be like on our next wine dinner.
The next wine. How was that, by the way? Was that Monday?
Oh yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Good turnout. Yeah.
Yeah,
The menu looked
yeah.
good.
It was good.
Nice.
Ashley's like, I don't know. I feel like she's definitely like an anomaly
Nice.
with her skill set and her age. She's
Cool.
just there's not a
Hard
lot
to
like
replace Ashley
You
if you
can't,
had to. Couldn't
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Nice.
Oh no, that would be tough.
I like how we
now that
just
we're
segued
here,
back.
no.
Oh,
I was wondering.
nice.
Like
nice,
crying,
nice.
no.
Yeah. I don't know, but I think there is something to, being able to source your own food, and even the
Yeah.
ability to cook food, I think is so many people don't know or take that for granted, the fact of a skill like that. And not only even like your level is much higher than the average person. I know so, by eating your food. But yeah, I think people have this general conception that nothing's going to go wrong, or, we never, everything will always be at the grocery store, which I don't know. I struggle with that one because America's only 300 years
Yeah.
old. This is kind of a 300-year-old social experiment
Right.
that may work, may not.
I was just talking
Yeah.
about the fall of Rome yesterday, actually.
I almost said really.
Yeah.
I almost said really, but really,
Yeah.
were you that time?
Yeah, I really was.
Yeah.
With my mom.
Why? Why were you talking about that?
We were talking about politics, my mom
Okay.
and I, and we're kind of like on we're a lot closer aligned than she realizes, but than we both realize, I think. But usually our conversations turn very heated very quickly, and so this one was a good one.
Nice.
It was, but I was just telling her about I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but we were just talking, and I just said, America, the way it's going,
No.
it reminds me of the fall of Rome a little bit. It's like you go in an opposite direction, and then things start to fall apart.
It seems like that's probably inevitable.
Yeah.
I don't think you can, to make serious change, and this is, people don't like to have this conversation. I have never voted. I never will. So I shouldn't say never will. Something could change in the future, but I just despise certain aspects of our political system. Too much money, and too many of them get in there by running on things that they say that they're going to do and they never do. So the one thing people know about politicians is the majority of them will lie or have lied. And why would I waste my time and energy, pay attention into those kind of things, right? But I do agree. But there also wasn't, there was probably a time in Roman history where people were sitting around and be like, oh, it's going to be like this for forever.
Yeah.
This is how it's always going to be,
Right.
which is not the case. It could very easily, anything is possible in terms of what might happen with America, but politics strikes such a subject for people, like whether you're one way or the other, this team versus that team. It reminds me a lot of like, are you guys sports fans at all?
Just soccer.
Soccer, like, okay, soccer.
my God, I'm so
It's
sorry.
okay. Soccer's a good one. Yeah, because there are some like diehard soccer fans,
Right.
specific team, specific club.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes question like what motivates someone to paint themselves a specific color of their team, go stand there every day, every game, and shout to the rooftops of who they like or don't like. But politics is very similar. It's that same thing in people where they feel like they need to be a part of a team, red or blue or whatever. So I don't know. It's very divided for sure.
Well, I think it's divisive on purpose.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. If you push people far enough apart, they can't come together and tackle a real problem.
Yeah. But I think we're all want the same things. You
Right.
want a better life for your friends, family, children, better than it was when
Yeah.
we had it. I think people, if they get sick or injured, they should be able to go somewhere and get that taken care of. But my real problem is with money. I think money is where we went wrong as a species, as a whatever. I mean, it's just I think that was a mistake. Yeah, I think that was a mistake. And then it going into politics was even a bigger mistake.
Right.
It costs like, if you want to run for president, you need like $200 million. I mean, think of that. Like, really? Like, then that means only certain number of people are going to even have access to money like that, or be able to get that kind of money from certain, companies or other people, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like they have to, like, they're almost like bought out to like to support things that maybe they wouldn't necessarily support because like, well, now I have to because I accepted money from
my donors.
Right.
You're exactly right. Yeah. So, and then how do you take the money out of politics? You can't. So then again, I'm back to, I don't even think about it.
I think the one person that like I was aligned with the most, not completely, but the most, like, dropped out. So
who was that?
Kennedy.
Yeah. That was an interesting one.
Yeah.
But then what did he do? He went and supported Trump. And again, whether you like Donald Trump or don't like Donald Trump, it's not, whatever. Some Trumpers get real. Yeah. But I liked Kennedy. He was interesting. I had a guy in here. We talked about him a lot. He was like one of their grassroots guys that was out getting signatures to try to get him on the ballot. But he was interesting. I thought he had some fair points.
Right.
He talked a lot about the V word. I'm not saying it, and his thoughts about those kind of things. But and that family has a long history of very strange things that happened to them. His father, his uncle, both
crazy.
got killed.
Yeah,
very strange. I liked him too, but not enough to. If he was on the ballot, I still wouldn't go spend my day to vote for him.
Yeah, I didn't. After the last election, I just don't. I think I voted twice my whole life, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I can do it again.
Yeah,
I just don't think I have it in me to vote again.
I always think both parties they both have good and bad. So it's like, how do I choose one person over the other? Because there's things I like about both of them, and then there's things I dislike about both of them. And
that's a real fair point, because then sometimes people are like, oh, I'm going to pick the lesser of two evils.
Right.
And I'm like, is that the right?
Still supporting evil.
Exactly.
That's like the thing too, is like when you do that, like then people talk about like, oh, you're throwing your, like, that's where a third party comes in, like somebody who's in the middle, like, because it has become so incredibly extreme, like you can't even say that it hasn't. Like, I mean, you can say whatever you want. I'm not saying that, but like, it's very obvious, I meant to say, that it's become very extreme. And so the person in the middle is like, well, like kind of what you're saying, like, what about this and this? Like, maybe we can come to, and it's like, well, you're throwing away your vote. Like but if you tell enough people they're throwing away their vote, then maybe that counts for something,
Yeah, but
at the end of the day,
Hillary Clinton, back when she was running against Trump, she won, and I'm not that educated on this, she won the people's vote, but he won the electoral college. So she had more people vote for her in that first time when he won, but he had more states that have more weight because of their population pick him. So your vote kind of doesn't really, I've always felt
confusing.
I agree. And I'm not that educated on this, but I've never really felt like it mattered.
Yeah.
I think who's going to get in there is going to get in there.
I think it's like, I think it might be predetermined anyway.
Joe Biden was the most voted president in history by numbers.
I just don't believe that. I'm sorry. I just don't believe that.
I agree. People want to say like, oh, there can be zero election fraud. Like there's never been votes counted one way or the other, but I don't know. It's a polarizing subject for people.
It's tough.
But I get it. If people, I don't know. It's kind of an American right to even sit here and talk about this, though. If you meet people from other countries, they're like, you can't say this kind of shit. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. So
I just want to clarify that at the Fat Snook, we serve liberals and conservatives alike.
Nice. Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
I saw the Trump flag.
We can all come together. No, you didn't.
Joking.
We can all come together.
Yes.
And you certainly didn't see the Biden flag out front. I will say that.
No.
Neither
flags were there.
But you know what? You know what flag you could see out front though?
What's that?
The American flag.
The American flag. I like
because
that.
we all. We all. You can believe anything and still love food.
Yes.
And wine.
It is a very good way to bring people to common ground.
Come together.
Share a meal. Share
that and
a glass
comedy.
Of wine. Comedy too. I would agree. Yeah.
Depends. I said that, and then I kind of thought about how some people get really upset about comedy. So
I just sometimes people care about things way too much.
Yeah,
to enough to ruin their day about it.
I'm mad.
Come on. I don't know.
Like save that for the road like the rest of us, you know?
Yeah.
Get mad on the road.
Yeah. Would you ever do comedy? Have you ever thought about trying stand-up comedy?
I had like, I was like, oh, I want to create a minute to go on Kill Tony.
Oh, yeah.
And so I started and I had like one joke and I thought it was
You
pretty
actually
funny.
wrote?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But then I just think I would have a panic attack before.
You think so?
Yeah. Like I'd be like, my heart's racing. I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then I would go out there and I would bomb.
Oh, you'd be fine.
No, I would bomb.
In a minute would be interesting. 5 minutes would be tough. And
No,
then
I
thinking
can't.
about people doing like an hour set would be like, God.
There was a lady on Kill Tony from Blue Origin from Melbourne, Florida.
I saw her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
it was
I saw
pretty,
her.
it was
Yeah.
honestly, it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her interview was better than her comedy.
Her
wasn't
comedy
it?
was, well, like
Yeah.
the stuff she was saying, I was like,
She was out there. Yeah.
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 Which is great. That's comedy.
Yeah.
But it's got to hit.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's like, if it's off the wall and it's completely just,
Like it has to be 100%.
it has to be
Yeah.
good. Like if you're going to say
Yeah.
things about like, as a white woman, if you're going to say something about another race,
Yeah.
it's got to be funny. Like it cannot be
Yeah.
weird and not funny.
Or like probably deep seated in actual racism. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's
You're like,
she
Yeah.
might mean this.
yeah,
you know?
I think she
That
might
one
have.
touched you a little too close.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a chord
Yeah.
there that she's getting into.
Yeah, you're like,
I don't remember her set. I think I remember her interview. But I do remember Blue Origin and that she was from somewhere locally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. I've had a buddy of mine on a couple times. He's got 2 comedy clubs. He's got one in New Smyrna and he's got one in Port Orange. So you can do a minute, you know. So
I
keep
wouldn't. I don't
practicing.
think I could.
No. But I think about it regularly and I actually write to
Yeah.
try to think about what's funny, or it kind of helps you think
Yeah.
about how you think about things just in general. You know,
Yeah.
for
You
sure.
could do a comedy night at the Snook.
Oh my God, just me.
Oh my God. Oh, one mic
People
for
are like,
you?
can she stop, please? I like walk over to people's tables. They're like,
Please stop.
Yeah.
No, it's an interesting art form, you know, and some people fear more than death public speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. They literally rate that higher than death in some cases.
yeah, I haven't been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have that.
I got no
issue.
problem with it.
Yeah.
I actually enjoy it. You know, I like things that make me nervous or make me not want to do it. Actually, I was real nervous to even just talk with you guys.
Oh.
You know, I get nervous for everyone. I openly
Okay.
say that. But also, I think that's what makes me keep doing it. Because you want to know how it's going to go, and are you going to connect on subjects and get whatever points you're trying to get out about your guys' business and obviously what you do out there for people to listen to, and then talk about whatever. You know, the goal is really just to have conversations with people, because how often do you do this? Sit down and talk for an hour and a half already with people
Oh.
you've never met before, and we've never had a conversation
Yeah,
until today.
it's been like delightful.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It has been. I would
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. But that's kind of the journey. And you think you might want to do your own one of these? Is that something you want to put out there, or no? Not yet.
No, I would.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, this is the first time I've ever seen this equipment and,
Yeah.
like, been in a room like this.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know.
No.
I think it would be quite the investment. And I also go, like, I'm the type of person where I'm like, I want to learn how to play the drums. I want to do jujitsu. I want to, like, I just go all over the place.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure it's, like, actually something that I want to do.
Isn't that the battle of life, though? Like, what are you actually going to do with your time to try
Right.
to learn something new, or
Right.
whatever it is that's important to you?
Yeah. You got to, like, push yourself for sure.
You just got to do it.
Or I'm just watching the chimpanzee show. I could be doing
Yeah,
this.
people waste a lot of time
Yeah.
watching 7 seasons of Game
Walking
of Thrones
Dead.
or Walking Dead. Yeah.
You.
Yeah. Is that
My
a
husband's
go-to?
watching The Walking Dead right now.
Nice.
Like
Again,
every,
for the first time.
I think he's like, he watched it already, but he's like finishing. He's like, he's up to where he hasn't finished it yet. But it's like every moment he has, I'm like, I see him and he's watching The Walking Dead. And it's like, I just hear the zombie sounds from the other room and I'm like, wait.
Yeah. You got to have downtime too, though. You can't just,
Right,
and
100%.
TV and some things like that are helpful to, if you can't shut off,
Yeah.
work or, your problems or whatever,
Right.
So I do think there is something too relaxing, and but there is a line, right? If you're spending too much time doing that, then are there other things you should be doing? But
Right.
you could do it. The thing I would say is, don't expect that it's kind of like, be financially viable, for
Right.
probably a while.
Yeah, I would not do it for that.
Yeah.
I don't think I would
Yeah.
do it because think it's fun.
That
like to do it.
100% is the only reason. There's a few reasons why I do it. I do it because I think it's cool to be able to have a platform, meet people, talk shit about whatever's going on. I love Florida, so I like exploring people that are either from here, have a business here, or obviously spend time here, which is great. But also, it's a time capsule. I'm committed to do this no matter what. If it makes tons of money or doesn't, or allows me to quit my other things, would be fantastic. But till I'm 50. So that'll be 15 years of doing something, right? I started when I was 33. I'm 36. I think my math might have been off there. But meaning I could go back and and listen to what I thought about when I was in my 30s and when I was in my 40s. And then the people I've had on here, like, professional athletes, a lot of different types of conversations with people. I've learned more than I probably would just researching things on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's fun. So I would say do it.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. And you don't need all this stuff to start,
I'm like,
from an equipment standpoint. It's
just the Florida flag.
That's my most expensive piece in here. No,
is it really?
No.
Oh, okay.
Got her.
I
got her with
one.
one.
Me this time. I was like, whoa.
It took an hour and a half.
Hand painted.
Hand painted with the creases and everything.
Yeah, it's great.
I wanted a backdrop that was suiting. Yes,
it's a good one.
Yeah, people. You're not from Florida.
I am from.
You
Florida.
are from Florida.
I am born and raised.
Where was Ohio? Oh, the original.
Yeah,
was Ohio. Mm-hmm. Yeah, where at?
So I was born at Holmes, and I went to Vera High School.
Okay. Yeah. Holmes Regional. That's where my daughter was born. Okay.
In Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I've lived in Cocoa Beach. I've lived in Cape Canaveral.
Nice.
Viera.
Nice.
Rockledge.
Yeah. Cool. And you?
I'm from Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm one of the few states I have never been to. Never been to Connecticut.
It's not worth visiting.
Oh, I was just going to say I was about to go there. Honestly, the winter. A friend of mine just moved there. He's a surfing buddy of mine. He's from there. And I didn't realize how much surfing goes on up there in the Northeast.
Did you know
not where I'm from. There's the beaches aren't near me.
Yeah.
I live on the opposite
more
side.
west. Yeah. But so I got to get a thicker wetsuit in the wintertime. But I'm looking forward to going up there and surfing with him somewhere I've never been. So Connecticut.
Nice.
Yeah. But Florida gets a bad rep from people, out there. They think we're all sunburnt and crazy, which there are. There's plenty of crazy people anywhere you go. But I've always loved Florida, and this is a good way to keep, learning from people that are around here.
Yeah, I've lived in New York City, and I've lived in North Carolina. And I come back to Florida.
Yeah.
So,
what was New York City like? I've never been there either.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I loved it for that time in my life. I couldn't live there now, and I could not raise a family there.
Yeah, that'd be hard.
But I definitely could visit and eat there a lot. Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I want to visit. I want to eat. I want to see. I love cities. I love
cities
the woods.
a lot.
I love to visit them for like a short amount of time. I live in the woods and spend a lot of time in the woods.
Yeah.
That's more what I prefer long term, but I'd love to go to New York. But I almost moved my family and kids to Miami when they were real young.
I lived there too.
Did you?
Yeah.
I lived there for a little bit. And then came back and forth for many years too. It's a cool town. They got good food there.
Yeah.
Interesting people, for sure. Good people too. But it's one of those ones you wouldn't want to be there all the time. You want to come and then leave.
I don't think you'd want to raise your family there.
I think it would add more challenges.
Really hard. Yeah.
It would add different kind of challenges. But I don't know. There's a lot of challenges today. My daughter saw these kids at the park the other day, and she goes, "You see that girl over there?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "She's a furry." I was like, "Oh, furry? How does a 9-year-old know what a furry is?" So I'm like, "Explain to me what a furry is." She just more of it. She wants to be an animal. She had some sort of tail on, and maybe she wanted to be a cat. I don't know. Maybe she thought she was a cat.
I would never actually do that in my actual life.
She's in public.
Oh, I didn't mean to offend you if you're a furry.
No.
If you're a secret furry.
I promise. I'm just in the kitchen with little cat ears.
Oh, please, with a tail. Yes. The and I said this to my daughter, is that the strangest one I heard on that subject was companies had to. There's a real push for diversity and inclusion, which we should have, but the big push for the furry community was certain of them wanted litter boxes installed as an accommodation for them in your place of business. Imagine that. So imagine if she came to you and asked you.
There's gotta be
absolutely not.
So I definitely think I'm all for diversity inclusion, but there's gotta be a point where you say no.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we're
Yeah.
not doing that. Sorry.
That one's a hard no.
That's a hard no.
That's a hard no? No?
Yeah.
You haven't put that request in for the
No.
Snook to get that added? Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be tough. Snook's pretty small, so
Yeah.
it'd be hard to have like a litter box friendly space.
Outback
Who's
litter box.
cleaning it?
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause I'm not.
Yeah, no.
And the furry wouldn't clean it because they would be like,
Oh,
I'm
no.
I'm a cat.
a literal cat. Like, I
Yes,
can't
I don't even
scoop
have
it.
thumbs. Nice. I don't know. I think if you really think that you are something you are not, you should be able to be whatever you want. Like who cares? You know, that's my opinion on a lot of different diversity and inclusion subjects. But where it got weird in business was like the scores. Like major corporations had like a specific score of diversity and inclusion they were trying to hit.
Right.
It determined how much money, I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, how much funding they got from certain places. This will get cut, I'm sure. But I don't know. I'm with you. There has to be a time where you can say no. And
Yeah.
then what happened to the best person?
Right, that's
whether
where
you're
I'm
white,
at.
black, Spanish,
That's where I'm at.
gay,
Like,
lesbian,
it shouldn't
whatever.
be about anything other than your competence
Yes.
and who you are as a person.
Exactly.
Like, that's it, period. Like,
End of story.
Right.
Yeah. That seems to me
now,
like
if you think you're a cat, I don't mean to interrupt
No,
you,
you're
but
good.
if you think you're a cat, then you're not competent. Sorry.
yeah, there's an actual gene they found where you're a cat. No, I'm joking.
Ashley's
It's
like,
a new chromosome. Here's my resignation. Yeah, I don't know. I would. That's the transgender argument. If they really feel that way, I feel bad for them. If you even homosexuality, like that was such a prosecuted individual. They couldn't get married. They couldn't do a lot of things.
Yeah.
If you're really that way, then you should be able to do whatever, especially in America. You should be able to do, your freedom of choice. But I don't know. There's a lot of different influences in different directions right now. And then the stuff with children, again, this is a sore subject for a lot of people. Just blows my mind.
yeah, it's definitely one that I don't know if I should go down.
I agree.
On podcast.
I agree. I don't know how I even got
Yeah.
there. It was the furry conversation.
Furries. Furry segue.
Took
yes.
us to all
Is that
sorts
like a
of
new
DEI.
identity? Or like,
It could be. I think
Could
so.
be.
No, honestly,
Yeah.
I don't. You know what? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't
and,
want to. I don't want to.
Yep. I just say it as blatantly as possible. People should be able to do whatever they want to do.
Yes,
But
I
there's-
agree with that.
There's a reason why you
Well-
can't or shouldn't drink alcohol or get tattoos before you're a certain age.
Right.
Your mind takes a little while to develop. Women develop faster than men. You guys are like 21. We're like 25 or never probably. But, there's reasons for that. And I think we should still look at that when children think a certain way, and they're definitely influenceable. And there's a lot more ways kids are influenced towards things now, through the internet and through things that they're exposed to earlier on that, I don't know. You just got to be able to have these conversations, I think, sometimes too.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be afraid to talk about these things, but I think we are a little bit. Yeah. Changing subjects.
Yes, I openly
yes,
have this
yes.
conversation often, but
Yeah.
not often, but enough. Like, I have an opinion on it, and I
Yeah.
think it definitely aligns more so with yours
Okay. Yeah.
on that subject, especially like having children and
Yeah.
whatnot. So
Well,
I think when people are an adult, like, they should do what they want to do
Yeah.
within reason, right? Like,
yeah.
as long as it's not harming anyone else.
Yeah. Even if it's harming yourself, go for it.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah.
Like, maybe literally even too.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then the money. How much money is going around in that space? And, I don't know. That's a tough one for another day.
It is very tough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
it's a
another
tough
day.
one.
So what's next for the Snook?
I was about to say.
Yeah, what's next for the Snook?
I
Well,
think I'll start with, like, I know Ashley has plans, and
Yeah.
I would say that my end goal is to have a restaurant group in Brevard County.
Nice.
With the Snook being the start of that.
Cool.
I really, really want to open a more farm to table, focusing on
Nice.
like where we get our food from. Like, obviously it's very difficult to source everything from a farm. But really focusing on like what's available and supporting local farmers and
Yeah.
supporting meat that is, regenerative and sustainable. And that's my goal. I really wanted it to be rustic, and I want there to be a good cocktail program.
Nice.
And I would really love that. So that's kind of the direction I want to go in. That's
Cool.
like, we're going to be probably meeting with people to see what's available in the area and to try to start heading in that direction.
Nice.
But yeah, that's something I would really like.
Nice.
I really want us to have more wine dinners at the Snook, and
I like the local pitch of some of that too. You know, I think there was like a few local beers that I never heard of when I went there too, and obviously the wine. I didn't have any wine while I was there.
I like to support local for sure.
That's cool.
Like local small businesses, and I think that would definitely be. We want to open up like a fast casual, but with like that's elevated, because there's not a lot of like fast casual where you can like go up and like order something and it's like really good quality like food, you know, like, so like that's something I'd want to do.
That's
and
interesting.
then the sit down like I want a Michelin star eventually. I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I was just educated on Michelin stars recently, and that there is a couple around. A buddy of mine was telling me about this yesterday, but that would be cool.
Yeah.
Florida just got their first Michelins, I think, almost 2 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, they weren't in
so
Florida.
it's definitely will be a process.
And then there's like multiple tiers, right? There's like a 1 star or a 2. What's the highest?
3.
Oh, there's a 3-star. Wow, but none in Florida. None of those in Florida.
No, I think Florida only has right now 1 stars.
Okay,
but they're only in Tampa, Orlando, and Miami.
That's exactly what he told me. He went to one in Tampa, and then there was another one in Orlando.
The Michelins are definitely in the bigger city areas.
But what is it? Is it a group of people that determine that, or I don't really know how that works? Okay.
It's just quality of service, quality of food, that kind of stuff.
You can be like a Michelin reviewer. Have you seen that? Where you like go.
Yeah.
You have to travel and you have to write and you have to like, it's like a very intensive job, but you just like eat really good food all the time.
Tough job. You know, that would be difficult. Yes. But
what about, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I was saying what's next for the Snook, but I would like Ashley as well to.
What's next for Ashley? At the Snook or in general.
I'm like always at the Snook.
Slave driver.
No. Ashley she's so young and she's so talented. Like she has
bright future.
Correct.
I hope so.
So what's next for Ashley? Do you think about the future much, or?
Yeah, I think about it a lot. You know, my end goal is obviously to have my own restaurant.
Nice.
You know, I've had the opportunity to learn a lot back of house, but on top of also learning some of the front of house stuff, which is nice. You know, so I just definitely want to keep learning to be well-rounded, so that way, you know, when I do decide to open up a restaurant, you know, I know every aspect of it, not just how to cook. Like, I want to be able to handle the customers and handle all of the behind the scenes that, you know, a lot of people don't think about when having to go into it.
What a great way to look at it. Take this time to learn and grow, and then have a future plan for yourself. Maybe a Michelin star restaurant of your own someday.
Could.
Nice.
Hope so.
Very cool. Is that like a political thing? I mean, is there like not political might not be the right word, but is it like subjective, that group that gets to pick for those, or?
No, I think it's more of just like a reward. I would say
like hitting certain standards. Like allows you to.
But my buddy was telling me it's not. It could be like there's Michelin star food trucks. It's not like it has to be very expensive or like elaborate. You know.
So in the United States, there's not any like food trucks. I know, like in like Thailand and like France and all of that, they're very more lenient, I think, with Michelin stars compared to like here, where it's like maybe 5 or 6 states, I believe, but you know, it's a lot more intense. But I mean, I think of it as like an award, you know, putting like your heart and soul into something, you know. Definitely.
Very cool. Very cool. What's one thing I should eat there when I go next? What would you recommend?
Oh man, I really like our catch 2 right now.
Catch 2? What kind of fish is that? Triple tail, or what was he telling me?
So it's whatever we get in locally. But the setup of it is my favorite right now, I think.
What is it? What's the setup?
It's a kohlrabi puree with a chorizo snap pea corn succotash with
I need a dictionary or some sort of translation here. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, I'll have to come try that. We've been talking about where we're going to go next. Our goal is to try to hit, how I found you guys, obviously driving by, but also you're very highly rated in the Cocoa Beach area. I think I was looking at TripAdvisor when we picked the day we were going to come there, and you guys are in like the top 5 of any, you know, places that rate the restaurants, and there's a lot. There's like 90 something that they even rate on there. So pretty cool to see you guys rated up there. Is that important to you to have high ratings in the community, I'm sure.
Yeah, like definitely like customer satisfaction is really important. Like making sure people are happy. So like, yes, that is very important to us. Yeah. But I think we want to get our reviews based on like the actual experience and like how they really felt, and not like.
Yeah, I read a lot of our reviews.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just like a little bummed because I'm like, why did they make a review about something that's not relevant to like Snook?
Like parking or
someone was really upset that we don't have martinis on our menu, and like, you know, like one of the first things the servers mention is, you know, we're beer and wine only. So it's like, your experience was good, but you just couldn't get a dirty martini.
And they give you like a bad review for that?
And I think we got like 3 stars for that one.
Damn.
And I was like, I could have ran to the store and got you a dirty martini. Like,
or it's like, is alcohol like that important to you?
Yeah.
Probably for some.
You're here for the experience of like the food and the service, not just, you know, drinking.
Yeah. I don't know. I think people like to just find something sometimes to complain about.
It's like there's some people that like you're never going to please them.
No.
Like we just had a wine dinner on Monday. We just had a wine dinner on Monday, and it was really nice. And there was a couple that came in, and it was their first time. Like they came to our restaurant for the first time for a wine dinner, which I was like, how adventurous! Like that's awesome. And they loved everything, and it was amazing, and they were so happy, and they're gonna come back. And then I guess they got the check, and like on our checks we have, you know, gratuity, which is optional, right? It's obviously standard, but then we have a kitchen tip pool, which is incredibly optional.
Yeah, but I thought it was actually cool because the way I thought of that was that, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but then that probably goes into a bucket that then gets split up with everybody working. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
But they were upset about this?
So they posted it on like a 321 Brevard Eats group. They said that the experience, and that's what gets me, like as a local small business owner, right? Like the experience was, like you stated, the experience was great. Yeah. But then this one thing made you this upset, where it's like, wouldn't you say, I don't know, like I wonder if the experience was great and that tip line wasn't there, would you have posted how great the experience was? No, you probably wouldn't have.
Probably they didn't post any pictures of the food or anything. It was just, you know, the receipt. And it's like, that's something completely optional, you know?
Right.
So
and it's like, also... Oh, go ahead.
But they were upset about...
Well, they're like 200, over like 250 people commented on it, and some people were like totally like get it. Yeah. And then other people were like, you just need to pay your workers a fair wage. Like you need to ask people to stop like subsidizing like your tips. And I'm like, I don't think you understand how businesses like operate and work. It's people that have never done it. And a lot of it is like servers that like are mad
at
like,
their company that they work for at some point.
And they're mad that like we're doing this for our employees, or they don't think we're paying them enough, and it's like okay.
But then there's like the some that were like, oh, like I'm completely okay with, you know, on the menu it says like buy the kitchen a 6-pack, and I'm like, you know, we have people on the line that don't drink, they're sober, and then we also have underage kids, and it's like, why would we promote alcohol as a reward, you know? It's like
people want to pay their electric bill. They don't want a free beer, like and like my husband used to be like a really heavy drinker, but he's 3 years sober. And he used to be the head chef at the Fat Snook, and he would say we were talking about it yesterday, and he goes, you want to know why that was on the menu? And I was like, why? He's like, because I put it there because I want a beer. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And he was like, he's like, but now like times have changed. Like people, like, I think it's a cool option for people, but like also like, is that like, when you have line cooks that show up to work hungover, like, and I'm not saying any of ours do, but people have, and people will.
Of course. Yeah.
Are you going to promote that lifestyle? Like, or are you going to say like, here's money, you can pay your rent with it? It's like, you're at a corporate, you have a corporate job, and you guys do something right, and people are like, pizza party. It's like, actually, I like money. Money, please.
Yeah. I think it's kind of back what we were talking about earlier, is everybody has an opinion.
Right.
Most of them suck, you know.
It's but like everyone has an opinion, and if you think you could do it better, go out and do it. But that's how I feel.
But
go do it.
They never will.
Right.
They get off on being able to, you know, put that out there on the internet, give you a low review, and have people comment on it and agree. That's what they enjoy about it.
Right.
And to where you guys are just trying to get your name out there, grow, and have the best experience possible, both for the people, but I liked how you started it with it's more about the people that work there. there.
Right.
Because if you take care of them and by
They're
doing
happy.
that,
Yeah.
but that's other people that
Can you imagine like, hey guys, so I know that this has really benefited you, but people are upset. So we're going to take it off and take it away from you.
Where some people probably would do that based off of that feedback you just gave, but no.
Either you like it or you don't. You come in or you don't. Like, at the end of the day, like, it's not like we make decisions willy-nilly. Like, we think about, especially I will maybe. My husband does not. My husband it takes him a very long time to make a very, like, we're pretty much opposite ends of the spectrum, which is great. But it takes him like a very long time to make a calculated decision.
Nice.
So
he weighs out all the options. Yeah.
Correct. Where I'm like, let's just do it.
Yeah. I like a mix of both of that. I think there's, like you said, it's a good mix of the two of you. Like,
I think that I'm more like, I'm more extroverted, and I'm more creative minded, and where he's very logical and logistical, and this is how it's going to work, and this is what we need to do, and I'm just like, let's just open up a bunch of them. And he's like, how? And I'm like, you know what I mean?
Oh, good question.
I'm like, I was like, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, no. But that's why it's a partnership, and that's good, that you guys have that where you can communicate those kind of things together too. But I would say try not to get too caught up in what people say, like those comments and stuff. Of course, because a lot of people do read them, a lot of people interact with them, but I think you guys have a great product, and I really liked how you guys started this with making it about the people that are working there, and the overall experience will follow. I think I've always been a believer that people work for people. You could change the name of that restaurant or do whatever, but because of the way you are, you still keep the people that you have. So I wouldn't change based off of
no, we're not
comments.
going. I mean, it's like I go and I look at their I like, of course I'm like, oh gosh, and so I click on their profile, and then they're like reviewing Longhorns, or like they're like upset. Applebee's, like, McDonald's, like the McDonald's off Clear Lake Road's really gone downhill, and you're just like,
God.
You're going to McDonald's, like, what do you expect?
Yes. A Michelin star. They're like, not here. It's like I almost wanted to like I just I can't. But also, they're not thinking really about you guys or that impact. And if they are, they're lunatics. Or the impact that even the way you guys just mentioned some of those, you could tell that it bothers you. But,
oh, they don't care.
They don't care. They don't even think about it.
That's the thing is, like, you want more small businesses in this city, right? Like, you don't want to go to chains all the time. You want something new and diverse and creative, but like, you're going to shit on the local businesses in the area because we're not the first ones. Like, they've done it to multiple small businesses in the area, and you're going to shit on them with your opinion on how you think things should be, which is like, you're the customer, so you have every right to your opinion. But like, it's so much easier to hate on a local small business that's like pouring, like there's been so many tears and sweat and that have gone into so many things we've done or like have acquired. And so it's like, these are real people. Like, we have feelings, we have families, like we're doing the best we can. So maybe like hit us with some positivity every now and then too. Which they do.
You get a lot of that too. 100%.
We get like way more positive reviews than negative reviews.
Yep.
It's really the Facebook. It's the Facebook warriors.
Really? I think that's a theme of Facebook though. That's the Facebook warriors. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
I think one guy, he said he owned a lot of restaurants before, and we were mediocre. We were, I don't know, he said some other stuff that was like just so mean.
Damn.
Couldn't even spell.
Yeah. And he couldn't even spell. That's true.
I wish you would put that back, like respond, like, hey, thanks for the feedback, learn how to spell.
No, I typed something out, and then at the end because he was like, I've owned many restaurants, and I'm like, you guys are scumbags and never go into the door for these people who can't pay their staff and all this crazy stuff.
Dang.
And like at the end, I like said all this nice stuff, and I wanted to be like, I'm sure you were a blast to work for, but like, my husband was like, don't. I'm like, but it's please. That's why I want to start a podcast, because I want to come on and I just want to be able to be like, let's get real here.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people in the service industry are like, it's not as bad as it used to be, but it's almost like we get shitted on and we have to like meet it with a smile.
Yeah. It's like we're walking on eggshells.
100%.
Because you're there to serve them.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like at one point, like my first job was in the service industry when I was 16. And it's like, there's been points I've had other jobs around the country, and there's been points where I've said to people, I'm not your servant. I'm a human being. And then I got fired.
Damn. Man. Was that a big chain or was that like a...
No, it was it was this place in Asheville, North Carolina. Yeah. And I don't think I I could feel it going in that direction. And I was like, this is like, I quit. Yeah. Like, if you're not going to support me when somebody talks to me like shit, I quit.
I'm out.
Yeah. But the manager talked to his employees like shit, so I don't think he like would make fun of them, and then like everyone would like get on board and make fun of them, and it'd be like, damn, oh my god, okay.
Tough environment.
Dude. I mean, Ashley's not wrong when she said that. Like, I've had chefs throwing things in the kitchen, you know, calling you fucking idiot, you know, yelling, like embarrass, or owners that I've worked for will embarrass. They don't care who you are, they'll embarrass you. It doesn't matter. And what do? Like, well, if you want to people please like I do, you just be like, I can be better, and you just stay at that job for 6 years or however long you did.
Yeah, I get it though. You know, you
just love me.
You got bills to pay, things that you got to keep working. You know, that's I don't know. I think there's all different kinds of ways to do things, but I would not want people to talk about me like that ever, you know, in terms of, you know, how we treat them or, you know, how they feel. That would be tough. Right. But again, back to your guys' place, doesn't seem like, again, similar, you know, you take what you've learned out there, both good and bad, you know, and realize like that's not how you're going to do it now that you have that, you guys have had that opportunity.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I've made many mistakes. Like, I wish I could go back and maybe change conversations or do things a different way. But like, for the most part at the Snook, I feel like I've implemented a lot of what I don't want to do or how I don't want to treat people there.
Nice. Well, this was really fun. You guys, you know, appreciate you coming in and sharing both about your restaurant, obviously your side of it too. And then, you know, we kind of went on a lot, of different subjects there.
I could keep going.
Me too.
Ashley's like...
Well, you know what I would...
No, really? Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. You know what I would say though, is if you ever want to come back and dive into anything, what's been really fun is when, like, you know, 6 months go by and we do this again. You know, I've had a lot of people that have come on, you know, 3 times. 3 times is the max, I think, right now. Yeah, the same person multiple times. Yeah. But it is, I think it's fun, and you got a lot of interesting perspectives on things, and that's the kind of stuff I like to share. So both of you, always welcome back. But
thank you.
I appreciate you coming by and spending the time to do this today. This was awesome.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.